This segment of the Alice Stewart Show is brought to you by Aero Plumbing. For all your household or business plumbing needs, call Aero Plumbing at 1-866-PLUMBER or schedule an appointment online at aeroplumbing.net.
And we're back on the Alice Stewart Show, 7:35, 25 minutes before 8 o'clock, and 21 days until the midterm elections. Just 3 weeks from today, folks will be casting their ballots in these all-important races. We have a great lineup of candidates in all the races, from the top of the ticket down. It's important to do your research and homework on all of them. But that U.S. Senate race we have here has gotten a lot of attention because balance of power in Washington could be at stake. And this race here in Arkansas could determine whether or not the Senate stays in Democrat hands or if it is turned over to Republicans. And all the candidates in that U.S. Senate race squared off in their first big debate last night, and Democratic Senator Mark Pryor, Republican Congressman Tom Cotton, Libertarian candidate Nathan LaFrance, and the Green Party candidate Mark Sweeney all squared off on key issues. And here to break it down, we have two political experts here in studio to get their take on this. We have Jay Barth, who's a Democratic strategist or consultant with Hendrix College Department of Politics and International Relations, and on the Republican side, Rex Nelson with the Arkansas Independent College's president there. Rex and Jay, great to have you here.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Okay, the candidates squared off, talked about financing, ads, foreign policy. What's your takeaway? Jay, we'll start with you. Your takeaway from that debate.
Well, I thought, it was two very, very clear strategies. Congressman Cotton clearly played the Obama card innumerable times, and it really, I think, was it got a little rote and a little old, and I think it was a little too automatic in some ways. I mean, it was a somewhat stiff performance in some ways. I think it did. If there was a soundbite, though, it had President Obama's name in it, and that was the goal.
No
I think of on that side. Pryor, as he has historically looked in debates, looked relaxed, and he clearly played the Arkansas card. I mean, the Pryor family knows how to go provincial, knows how to play Arkansas. I mean. David Pryor got spanked on that in 1972 in his big debate with John McClellan, and the family has never forgotten, and they know how to play that card and come home to Arkansas and always portray it as we're here for Arkansans. This other candidate is here for outsiders.
Correct.
Let me be brutally honest about something at the outset. Look, I understand that AETN is a state agency. I worked in state government for almost 10 years. I covered many years before that litigation involving candidates. But as long as they have to involve these obscure third-party candidates, AETN debates are going to be pretty worthless. You had two people who do not matter at all in this race taking up time. You had a moderator, you had three panelists, you had 8 people on the set. That's too many people.
Right.
It was totally worthless as a debate. Nobody got much out of it. It was serving as a warm-up, I think, for Pryor and Cotton for tonight, when it will be just the two of them on a little bit bigger stage. That said, Jay, I think you're right. I think what we'll see more of tonight is what we saw a little bit starting last night, and that is both candidates trying to paint a caricature of their opponent. Cotton trying to clearly say that Mark Pryor is nothing but an Obama surrogate, that he says one thing in Arkansas, but he's going to vote with the president in Washington. Meanwhile, Senator Pryor saying Congressman Cotton is a tool of the Club for Growth and the Koch brothers, yada, yada. And we'll see more of that tonight. Yeah. But we'll have more of a real debate, I think, tonight than we did last night.
Yeah, the only thing I would correct, I do think those extra candidates may actually matter on Election Day a little bit, because They are on the ballot, and if it's as close a race as it may well be, they could matter in terms of pulling votes from the other candidates.
I think with them there, though, it's just hard to really get a flow of a real debate.
A very rickety process, unquestionably. It was the same in the congressional debate last night.
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
absolutely.
The thing I will say is that Pryor had some pretty sharp hits last night, but his personal style is so affable that they I think become particularly effective. I mean, he's pretty good at this. He's done it a lot. I thought that there were some challenges for Cotton. The camera angle was a little weird on Cotton. There were some things that became a little distracting at times. But I think last night was probably very good for both of them. Pryor gets a little more confidence going into the night. Cotton clearly had to have learned some lessons that this is not going to be somebody who just sits there and takes it, and moreover that he probably has to diversify his message just a little bit with what is going to be a larger statewide audience.
Yeah, one thing I did find interesting is that Senator Pryor did immediately go on the attack in his opening statement. I thought going in that his opening statement might be, here's what I've done for you. I've served you. My family's been involved in Arkansas politics for decades, so forth and so on. But he went immediately after Cotton, and I thought that was an interesting strategy, right, and probably the right strategy, seeing that at best maybe he's even, probably is a little bit behind in the race right now.
And starting out right off with that dialogue of billionaires tying Cotton with that, and as Jay, as you mentioned, Cotton tying Senator Pryor with Obama. One of the issues, actually the first 20-25 minutes was on money and financing and ads. I want to play a couple sound bites from each of the candidates on the ads. One of the things Pryor brought up and was asked about was the outside groups funding money, funding outside organizations, putting ads on the airwaves in Arkansas. And here's each of the candidates. We will start with Congressman Tom Cotton on this, and then Senator Mark Pryor.
Arkansans have it very tough in the Obama-Pryor economy. I think the last thing they want is to hear a bunch of politicians whining about the negative ads they see on TV. And frankly, I've dodged real bullets in the streets of Baghdad, so a few metaphorical bullets on a political campaign don't really bother me that much. What troubles me is the pain that Arkansans are facing because of the Obama-Pryor economy. Mark Pryor's been voting 93% of the time with Barack Obama. And unfortunately, what that's mean is real hardship for Arkansans.
Let me just say that the negative ads, in my view, are bad for our system. They sap people's confidence in our government. And I just think, the fog of misinformation that these ads create is not good for the system. Let me say, there's two things you never want to see in a political campaign when it comes to money. You don't want to see unlimited money, and you don't want to see secret money. And that's what you have with Citizens United. And I think it's bad for the system. I think it's corrosive. I think money has a corrosive effect. We're seeing it right here in Arkansas. This is the first election cycle we've seen it in the state. It's been around now for 2 or 4 years, so some other states have seen it. But it's the first time, and it's a pretty ugly picture.
Rex, your thoughts? I mean, the first part of the debate, all about big money and negative ads.
Well, that's what people have been seeing for well over a year now. Think about it, Alice. We were sitting here in the fall of last year already seeing outside money being spent on this campaign. I mean, Arkansans have been bombarded with it. It's on the thoughts of Arkansans, so of course you're going to have both candidates try to spin it their way. It's the other guy's outside money coming in. There's a lot of outside money for both candidates. Nobody's really clean on this and can point to the other. It's not like, say, the Republican primary for Attorney General, where we saw all the outside money coming in for one candidate and the other candidate could use that as an issue. Both candidates are facing the same thing right now, and that's a barrage of negative advertising against them.
Right, Jay?
And I thought both candidates, handled it appropriately. I mean, they didn't point all the finger on the other side. I mean, they really did, they pointed to the bigger issue. And I thought, Pryor again used it as a way to contrast, Arkansas versus these outsiders, and of course Cotton using it there to reinforce his war history.
I was going to say, did you notice he got dodging bullets in Baghdad and Obama in the same soundbite?
The baby was not present, but otherwise it was there.
He's got a great biography. Use it.
Oh, he's got the new. We're having a baby, so that even adds even more.
That made it 3 times.
That was in the opening statement, right out front.
Babies, billionaires, and Benghazi.
And bullets.
Bullets. There you go. All right, we're going to take
the alliteration going.
We're going to take a break, and we'll come back with 2 experts in the field of politics, Rex Nelson and Jay Barth, weighing in on the U.S. Senate race. We're going to talk a little bit more about foreign policy coming up after this break. This segment of the Alice Stewart Show, brought to you by Aero Plumbing for all of your household or business plumbing needs. Call Aero Plumbing 866-PLUMBER or schedule an appointment online at aeroplumbing.net.